lush, green and vibrant, with flowers of all shapes and colors, rich with a great diversity of wildlife. Meadows like these are now rare. But in the Natura 2000 reserve at the foot of the Untersberg mountain in the Großgmain district, they can still be found. As these meadows disappear, butterflies are becoming scarce. Everyone loves butterflies, and there are over 180,000 species on Earth. About 70 of those live in the land of butterflies near the Untersberg. Today, many species of butterfly are threatened. This one is now perhaps the rarest butterfly in Europe, the Scarce Fritillary. Situated in the middle of the land of the butterflies is the Salzburg Open Air Museum. The old farmhouses are a reminder of past times, when traditional farming maintained an ecological balance and species-rich habitats, like wetlands farmed as straw meadows that Europe now needs to protect. For centuries, the farmers mowed these wet meadows every year in late summer. The hay, poor in nutrients, was used instead of straw as bedding in the stables. This annual mowing actually protects the meadows and prevents the forest from encroaching on them. Winter. Everything seems peaceful, but the look is deceptive. Today, farming the straw meadows is no longer profitable. In many areas, it has been abandoned. Not only are we losing a traditional heritage, but also we stand to lose the species rich and diverse as the forests slowly start to take over. To preserve these habitats, Mr. Josef Eisel, a member of the regional government of Salzburg, has initiated a LIFE project. The aim is to first restore the straw meadows, then with financial incentives and a focused management of the different biotopes to maintain them. It's an example of conservationists and farmers working hand in hand. Trees are uprooted rather than felled. There will be no stumps left behind, so when the overgrown meadow is mown, it will be free of obstructions. A buffer zone is left between the straw meadow and the forest, which allows for a gentle transition between the tall trees and the meadow plants. The edge of the forest is just as important for the Scarce Fritillary as are the meadow flowers. Holes of about ½ meter are dug down into the frozen soil. From March onwards, they fill with water and become a home for plants, insects, larvae, and amphibians. While work continues to secure a future for the Scarce Fritillary, the butterfly itself is oblivious. It survives winter in its caterpillar stage, waiting for spring. Every winter has an end. In Untersberg's land of butterflies, winter usually lasts from November to March. Then the sun starts to regain its strength. With spring, the meadows come back to life. It's only days after the snow and ice vanish that primroses start to bloom, one of the first to herald nature's dance of diversity. The mountain-loving stemless gentian and the green-winged orchid soon follow. But for this caterpillar, there is just one imperative: hunger. The ash tree buds fresh leaves towards the end of April, and these become the caterpillar's favorite meal. The caterpillar pupates between late April and mid-May. The pupa quickly hardens in the warm spring air. Soon, it will undergo its final metamorphosis. Now, in the land of butterflies, spring is everywhere. Flowers will blossom well into the autumn, and as the seeds mature, they provide ongoing food for the insects. Just like the alpine pastures, these straw meadows were created by man. But now, man is threatening to destroy these habitats. A specialist from the LIFE project collects seeds from a number of different plants that grow in the reserve near the Untersberg so they can germinate and be recorded. These unique straw meadow habitats are shrinking. In many places they have become overgrown as they are no longer profitable to farm. But the LIFE project is providing a solution. In the botanical gardens of the University of Salzburg, botanists are in a race against time. Nature's diversity of species is under grave threat because of agricultural fertilizers and frequent mowing. Many of the colorful straw meadows have already been lost to the green monoculture of food production. In greenhouses, the seeds that were collected are grown.
18,4 centimeter.
They won't become just another entry in a database. They are going back into the wild. Next year, these plants will begin transforming the dull, uniform green back to the huge diversity of species found in straw meadows. Straw meadows thrive in wet environments. In winter, there was nothing remarkable about these depressions. Now they are small microhabitats. Every pond that retains water for long enough now teems with life. It's an ideal environment for many animals, like the yellow-bellied toad, which is now rare in many parts of Europe. For the smooth or common newt, too. Only when the newt reaches its adult stage, it will leave the pond. These ponds are a refuge for many. The pools are alive with insects and mosquito larvae, and the tadpoles of the common frog have an abundance of food. But today, these small ponds are few and far between. Most have been filled in. The LIFE project is now recreating these small but vital habitats. It's high summer on the Untersberg. The straw meadows are in full bloom, and this attracts a variety of butterflies, like the black-veined white, the marbled white, the swallowtail, the large heath, and the meadow brown. After 2 or 3 weeks in its pupal stage, the metamorphosis of the Scarce Fritillary is almost complete. The adult inside starts to emerge, putting pressure on the hard case until it splits. The butterfly emerges into the sunlight to start a new life. It is now that we can start to measure the first successes from the work carried out in winter. The edges of the woodland, with its scattered ash trees, will help secure the future for this rare butterfly. Before it can fly, the Scarce Fritillary must first pump up its wings. This takes only a few minutes, but consumes much energy. The female Scarce Fritillary can lay about 400 eggs in a single clutch, but no more than about 4 will reach the adult stage. And life on the wing for an adult is brief, only lasting 3 to 4 weeks before it comes to an end. Butterflies are cold-blooded. Like reptiles, they must warm themselves in the sun. As well as allowing them to fly, their large wings also act like solar panels. They use their long antennae not only to smell, feel and taste, but also to search for a mate. As well as using visual signals to communicate, they also use these antennal clubs to sense and explore their environment, and by gently touching to identify other individuals. Summer passes and the flowers are fading. But there is still enough to provide the nectar that the Scarce Fritillary feeds on. These flowers can never grow in the modern fertilized meadows that are mown 5 times a year. So by preserving the straw meadows, the LIFE project is saving many rare insects from extinction. A late summer thunderstorm builds up over the land of butterflies. For the insects, it's as if a bombing raid is about to be unleashed. Everything tries to take cover, but there are no bomb shelters here. The downpour marks the end of summer. During the thunderstorm, the temperature dropped to 15 degrees. By the end of August, on the Untersberg, the sun is lower in the sky and fights against the onset of soft golden autumn mists. But it is losing the battle. Day by day, the sun is getting weaker. The pulse of life in the straw meadows starts to slow. In the cool air, the insects are slowing too, but a moment of unawareness for one allows the survival of others. September. It's the time of the year to mow the straw meadows. Once this was done by hand, but no longer. The LIFE project uses a special mowing machine that works its way over the wet meadows efficiently and carefully. The annual mowing prevents the woodlands from growing back and also opens up the habitat for many different species. By mid-autumn, most of the flowering plants have died back. The surviving Scarce Fritillary caterpillars buried themselves deep into the straw for the winter. The farmers of the Natura 2000 reserves are now maintaining more straw meadows in the traditional ways, and for their labors, they now receive special subsidies. We welcome you to the land of butterflies. Welcome to the Natura 2000 reserve on the foothills of the Untersberg, to the straw meadows that are a unique habitat created by humans centuries ago, and where nature still rules. Please follow the butterfly trail at the Salzburg Open Air Museum and discover for yourselves the fascinating diversity of butterflies and the straw meadows. Your interest will help us to continue to care for this natural treasure. And this is the aim of Natura 2000, to preserve our European natural heritage for future generations.